Just shove my hair behind. God, living in a small space sometimes is so difficult. Okay, perfect. So, very welcome everyone. I'm Tash and I'm going to be leading you through 45 to 50 minutes of anti-desk yoga. So this particular session will be really great if you've been kind of hunched over your laptop or your device for a long time and you're feeling a little bit tense in the shoulder, low back area. And also if you've been kind of stuck in this judging, spinning, analyzing mind that sometimes can happen when we're at work for a long time and we need to just have a bit of time to come back into the body and into much more of a peaceful place. So we're going to need a couple of props for today's class. So if you've got some bricks, grab them. And a blanket can be quite nice to sit on as we're going to start in a comfortable seated position. So let's just come to sit on the blanket or a cushion, any cross-legged position or stretching the legs out. Hands can rest wherever feels most comfortable for you. And then just becoming aware of the spine here. So a sense of the crown of the head lifting up towards the ceiling as the tailbone lengthens down. So there's a sense of the spine elongating, but it's not rigid through the shoulders. We're kind of still relaxed through the shoulders. And then we'll start with some wrist and forearm stretches. So this is a space that tends to get a little bit tight, especially if we've been typing a lot on laptop or on the phone, a lot scrolling, doom scrolling. So just lifting your arms, relax the palms as much as possible. And then we'll start to draw the figure of 8 with the fingertips. So you can keep the fingertips together and just starting to trace a figure of 8 in the air. So it can be a horizontal figure of 8 or vertical, doesn't really matter. And you can go really big here or you can keep it small. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, see if you can relax the shoulders, the jaw, and the forehead as you keep this figure of 8 moving. And then we'll go for one more round on this side and then pause at the top of the 8, and then we're going to go the other way. So just reversing the direction of the motion. You might just need a couple of moments just to check that you're going the reverse way. It doesn't really matter too much. Take a breath in and a breath out here. One more inhale and exhale here. Lovely. And then drawing the hands and the fingertips into a fist. And then start to circle the wrists in one direction and the other. So almost like you're tracing a nice big circle with both wrists and then reversing that direction. Lovely. A few clicks here and there is fine, just as long as you're not experiencing any pain or discomfort anywhere here. And then relax the wrists and just shake the hands out. So there's a sense of weightlessness through the arms and the hands. Lovely. And then gently bringing the hands back down towards the knees or thighs. Eyes open or eyes closed, palms facing up or facing down. Taking a breath in through your nose. And then letting that breath go through your mouth. And again, once more, inhaling to fill up. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take that one more time. Inhaling. And exhaling. And let the breath resume at its very natural rhythm and pace. And we'll make a collective intention for this practice. A gentle commitment to stay present to what is. Whatever arises on this mat in your body, emotions, or mind, seeing it through a lens of compassion. And then gently opening the eyes, and we're going to move into a pranayama called Bastrika breathing or bellows breath. So you can do this with the hand gestures or without. I'm going to show you now how to do the pranayama. So on the inhale, you're going to reach both arms up towards the ceiling, palms open, fingertips reaching up. And on the exhale, drawing fists with the hands, bend the elbows and pull the arms all the way down. So it's almost like a pump. Think of it like this. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. We'll do about 10 rounds, fully completing the inhale and the exhale. Take it steady and slow. Let's go when you're ready. Hands come down towards the earth. Take a breath in to prepare. And a breath out. And then let's go. Inhale, exhale. Steady as you go. Last one. Gently place the hands back down towards the earth. And we'll just take a moment in silent meditation. And carefully opening the eyes. And we're going to do 10 more rounds of that breath. So steady as you go. Nice pumping. Inhale, exhale through the nose. Let's go when you're ready. Inhale, exhale. 2 more. Release that exhale. Hands come down. Close the eyes. Take a breath in. And then releasing that breath nice and slowly. Elongating your exhale. Feeling the effects of that quite deep pranayama breath practice. What do you sense within you that's being awakened? And where do you feel the body most right now? And we're going to carefully open the eyes and then make our way into a balasana, child's pose. So take your time. If you want a blanket underneath the knees, then I highly recommend having just a little bit of support underneath your knees. And then drawing the hips back towards the heels as you reach the arms forwards. Take your time here. So we want to kind of feel the belly and the chest sink low, maybe resting the forehead on the earth, or you can make a little pillow and rest both arms on top of each other, head on top of the arms. Feeling the hips drawing back towards the heels as you maintain that lovely length in the spine. Let the shoulders and the elbows, wrists soften down towards the earth. Feeling the breath in the belly right now. As we inhale, you might feel the belly expand, make contact with the thighs. And as you exhale, that contact softens. Last breath in here. And as we inhale, we're going to move into kind of like a cat-like spine. So rounding through the spine, tuck the chin in towards the chest. Maybe you lift the hips off the heels ever so slightly. And then as we exhale, drop the belly low. Lift up through the chest into your cow as you draw the hips back towards the heels, coming back into your Balasana child's pose. We're going to keep that going with the breath. So as we inhale, it's almost like you're rippling the spine forwards, rounding here as you lift through the hips into your cat, shifting a little bit more weight into the wrists. And then as we exhale, lifting the bum in the chest, belly button drops low, simultaneously drawing hips back towards the heels. Keep that going with your breath, almost like a rolling cat-cow. Inhale, lifting up into your cat. And then exhale is more like a rolling motion here, lifting up through the chest and the tailbone, drawing the hips back. Lovely. Keep going with the breath and with the movement. Utilizing the practice here. We're utilizing movement, breath, body to draw the attention back into presence. Lovely. I'm going to take that for one more breath in. And then exhale, breath out. And this time a little bit different. As we inhale, we're going to ripple the spine forwards. Start to sink down through the hips here, lifting up through the chest, coming into your very gentle upward facing dog. You can even bend the elbows a little bit. Then exhale to draw the hips back towards the heels, back into your child's pose. And we'll do that a couple more times. So as we inhale, you can kind of round through the spine a little. And then sink down through the hips, lift up through the chest, melt the shoulders down the back. Then exhale, drawing the hips back towards the heels as you let the breath leave the body. Keep that going. I'll add in an option. So as we bring the hips down, you can stay as you are. Maybe you explore just lifting the feet up towards the ceiling. Keep the toes pointed. And then exhale, drawing the hips back towards the heels. Lovely. We'll take that for 2 more times. So any variation of this pose, breathing in, opening up through the front of the body, and then exhale out. One more inhale. And exhale here, rippling the spine all the way back towards the heels. Lovely. And then as we inhale, a little bit different, we're going to walk the hands back towards the knees. Exhale, come into a kneeling position at the back of your mat, keeping a blanket underneath just for a little bit of cushioning. Just get comfy here. You might want to keep the toes tucked or maybe point the toes back, your choice. Make sure your knees are about hip width apart. Shoulders nice and relaxed down the back of the body. Take a breath in and a breath out here. So always connecting back to that smooth rhythmical breathing. The most important element of your practice is a nice smooth and long breath. Just take your time to smooth out your breath. And then option to start moving here. So as we inhale, arms reach up and overhead, palms might join, full body stretch. Exhale, left arm reaches back, right arm reaches forwards, and just gently twisting the body over towards the left. So you can bring the arms out towards a T, as the shoulder blades glide down the back. And then inhale, come back through center. Arms reach up once more. Then exhale, twisting over towards the right arm back, left arm forwards. Lovely. So keep that rhythm going with your breath. Breathing in, back through symmetry, arms reach high. Exhale, arms reach out first, and then you let the body twist. Inhale, nice and slow, back through the middle. Exhale to twist. We'll do that one more time each side. Always focusing on controlling the movement rather than the speed. So imagine like your movements, almost like you're pouring oil, smooth, steady, slow. One more breath in. Exhale, breath out. Doesn't matter if you haven't done an even amount of twists on each side. Draw the arms back through center. And then as we exhale, hands come down. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, and start to walk the hands back towards the feet. So you're ending up in a floppy forward fold. You might just need to slide that blanket forwards a little. If you've got blocks, a good opportunity to use them on its highest setting underneath the shoulders. Feet about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider if that feels comfortable for your body. And then once you've got the hands on the blocks, just try and relax the neck a little bit so the crown of the head is dripping low. Then we're going to bend into the right leg and straighten the left. And then alternate bending into the left leg and straightening the right as much as you can. Keep going here, just kind of alternating, straightening and bending legs. And you might notice that produces a little sway of the upper body from side to side. So you can allow that to happen. Take a breath in. And a breath out. And as we inhale, we're going to bend into the right leg, straighten the left. Option to stay here. Maybe you lift that left arm up and overhead and take a twist over towards the left. Open through the chest. Lovely. Take a breath in. Option to stay here. Maybe you make a fist with that left hand and just start to circle the wrist in one direction and the other. Keep the shoulders melting down, the back of the body, crown of the head keeps reaching forwards, tailbone reaching back. One more inhale. Exhale, generously bend both legs. Left arm comes all the way back down. And then we're going to repeat on the other side. So bending into the left leg, straighten the right. Get ready to twist the body over towards the right. Right arm reaches up, open through the chest. Maybe you gaze up at those right fingertips. Perhaps you make a fist with that right hand and just start to circle the wrists in one direction and the other. Saying hello to your right hamstrings. Take a breath in and a breath out. Lovely. Then relax that right wrist. Bend into both legs. Hand comes down. And then inhale, hands on towards the hips. Exhale, bend the legs, press down through the feet and roll yourself up to standing. Each vertebrae lifts one at a time. And lifting yourself all the way back up. Once you're lifted, hands can rest on the body itself, maybe arms either side. And just take a moment here. Nice full breath in. And exhale out. Elongating your exhale. One more inhale. Exhale, slow the breath down. Lovely. Now we're going to bring the hands on towards the hips. Feet come to about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider this time, so maybe as wide as the mat. Generous bend in the elbows. Hands can rest on your hips, maybe they just float down either side of the body. And we'll just start to circle the hips in a clockwise direction to begin with. So you can start really subtle here. Just moving very subtly over towards the right and the left, back and then forwards. There's any kind of pinching or sharp pain in the hips, and just ease off the circles a little bit, make them a little bit smaller. Otherwise, maybe taking them slightly wider, but slow the movement down. Lovely. And just letting that movement kind of ripple up towards the chest and the heart. There's a little bit of rounding through the chest as you reach the hips back and a bit of opening as you reach the hips forwards. Arms can kind of just do whatever feels comfortable. Generous bend in the legs here. Take a breath in and a breath out. And we'll take one more circle in this direction and then come back through center. So hips roughly underneath the shoulders, head, shoulders roughly underneath the head. Take a breath in and a breath out. Now we're going to circle, but in an anti-clockwise direction. So send the hips forwards first, and then we're going over towards the left, slowly reaching the hips back, and then we circle back the other way. And you might notice that this one feels a little bit unnatural. We're kind of used to going in one direction when we circle, usually clockwise. So see how this direction feels. Connecting back to your breathing. When feels comfortable for you, take a breath in and a breath out. Softening shoulders, jaw, and forehead. The three places that tend to get are very tight when we're feeling tense, stressed, and anxious. So always checking in with these places when you're doing your movements or your yoga practice can help to relax the body and smooth out your breath. Lovely. I'm going to take two more rounds in this direction. And then exhale, soften all the way back. So maybe making the circles a little bit smaller. Lovely. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then as we inhale, hands interlace in front of the body and bring the hands towards the nape of the neck. So palms resting just underneath the hairline, kind of like you're cradling the back of the neck here, elbows nice and wide. Inhale, generous bend in the legs, lift up through the breastbone. Exhale, charging the chest forwards as you fold upper body forwards, keeping the hands interlaced behind the back of the neck. Once you come into your floppy forward fold, we're just going to hang here for a moment. You might want to sway from side to side. A little bit of movement for the low back. Try and lengthen the crown of the head away from the upper spine. Checking in with forehead, jaw, shoulders once more. Taking one more breath in. And exhale, breath out here. And carefully bend the legs on the inhale. Exhale, we're going to roll the spine up, but keep the hands behind the neck. Stacking each vertebrae one by one, see how it feels with that weight of the hands behind the neck. And lifting yourself all the way up to standing and release the arms down. Take a breath in and a breath out here. And gently opening the eyes. Then we're going to bring the feet about mat distance apart. So you can even take a V shape with the feet here. So heels in and toes out. If you like a little bit of support for your malasana squat, so we're going to go into yogi squat, maybe you place two bricks just behind you. And then carefully bend the legs, send the bum back. So almost like you're about to sit down onto a baby chair. And then carefully placing your bum on the blocks. If you don't want to use any blocks, absolutely fine. You can sink the hips a little lower. Bring the feet forwards a little bit so you can see all 10 toes. Then we're going to use the elbows to separate out the inner thighs and the inner knees. So you're opening up through your hip joints. Take a breath in, feeling that slight shimmer of sensation in both hips. And exhale, hands come together in the heart space, crown of the head lifts up. So I quite like to imagine three things going on here. Your right hip is opening up over towards the right, left hip over towards the left, and crown of the head keeps reaching high. So maintaining a neutral spine. Take a breath in and a breath out here. I'm just going to remain here for around 4 to 5 breaths. Option to stay here in stillness. This is plenty. If you want to try a slightly different variation, bring a little bit of variety into your practice, you might reach the fingertips forwards as far as they go, making little tents with the hands and then just releasing the head down. So a little bit more of a lengthening through the side trunks as you round through the back and fold forwards. Keep pressing down through inner and outer edges of the feet. Take a breath in and a breath out. One more inhale and exhale here. And as we inhale, we'll walk the hands forwards if they're not already there. Exhale, press down through the feet, rise up to standing. Lovely. And then we're going to move into a little bit more of a lunge here. So if you've got socks on, just a good time to pop them off, just so they're not kind of getting in the way later. And then carefully bringing the blanket off the mat, so you have a nice clear space. Blocks forwards, either side of that mat at the front of the mat. Oh. And then we're going to shift weight into our right foot as we take a big step back with your left foot. So coming onto the ball of the back foot, back heel is lifted here. Lunge forward, so front knee is in line with front thigh. And then bring the blocks either side of that front foot. Hands rest on top of the blocks. Take a breath in. You can shift a little bit more weight into the wrists if you like. Exhale, keep lunging forwards, pressing that heel back. Take a breath in and a breath out. Runner's lunge here, taking one more inhale. Exhale here. And then as we inhale, keep sinking that right hip forwards. Maybe you gaze forwards. Exhale, we're going to straighten that right leg as straight as it goes, drawing the hips back. And maybe you just take a gentle fold forwards, bending the elbows as much as you want. We're going to take that around 3 more times. So as we inhale, bending into that front leg, lunge forwards, gaze towards the front of your mat. Exhale, remaining on the ball of the back foot, front leg straightens. Maybe you take a gentle fold over that front leg. Take that 2 more times with your breath. Breathing in, right hip sinks low. Exhale, sending the hips back as you straighten that front leg. Take that for 1 more breath in. Exhale, breath out. And as we inhale, we'll soften through that back knee. Exhale, place the blocks forwards. Hands come to frame the front foot. Draw that right knee back underneath that right hip. And as we inhale, drawing the hips back towards the heels. Exhale, child's pose, balasana. So always a kind of return back to curling in. Let the breath be long. Checking in and seeing what's arising for you, what's being awakened through the body, the mind. Stepping away from analyzing, labeling, judging. And seeing everything through a lens of gentleness and compassion. Smooth out your breathing. One more breath in here. Lovely. And as we inhale, arms can reach forwards if they're not already there. Exhale, lift yourself all the way back up to hands and knees. Hands walk back towards the knees as you come back up into a kneeling position. So if you want that blanket underneath the knees, you're very welcome to do so. Lovely. So hands come behind you. We're going to bring the fingertips to face down, just on the low back area. So kind of the fingertips should lightly graze the start of the bum. Thumbs and fingertips pointing down. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, elbows point back, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, lifting up through the breastbone here. So rather than sending the hips forwards, we're going to lift up through the breastbone. Maybe you start to gaze up towards the ceiling and open through the front of the chest. Squeeze the bum. Take a breath in. And a breath out. One more inhale, relax the jaws, squeeze the bum, protecting the low back. Exhale, tuck the chin and come back through center. Inhale, hands come down underneath the shoulders. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the knees and walk the hands back towards the feet. You've got some options here. Feet come to hip width apart. You can fold the arms, an option that I've been exploring recently. Can feel sometimes quite nice for the shoulders, just to kind of hang with folded arms. Maybe you take a gentle sway. If you want to, you can just hang the arms instead. And if you're folding, make sure you explore the fold in the non-habitual way too. Take a breath in and a breath out. Now we're going to carefully bring the hands on towards the hips. Exhale, bend the legs, press down through the feet, rise all the way up to standing. Nice and slow. Lovely. And once you get all the way up, we're going to take a nice big step forwards with your left foot. So your left foot. Yes, it is. Yeah. Left leg forwards. I'm like, wait, did we do the other side? It's one of those days. So we're going to come onto the ball of the back foot. So make sure that heel is lifted, lunging forwards here. So front knee more or less in line with the front thigh. A little bit of alignment tip here. It's almost like the feet are gently tearing the mat in half. So you really want to feel that engagement through the feet. Then hands come down on towards your blocks. Bring the blocks to frame that front foot on its highest setting if possible. And then sink the hips low. Gaze forwards. Take a breath in. Keep pressing through the back heel. Exhale, we're going to explore just sending the bum back, straightening the front leg as straight as it goes. Maybe you take a gentle fold over that front leg. Lovely. You're going to do that a couple more times with your breath. So as we inhale, sink the pelvis down, lift up through the chest, roll shoulders back. Exhale, send the bum back, straighten the front leg, fold over. 3 more times with your breath. Trying to remain present for all those little micro movements in between the big. Moving with intention, steadiness, slowness. I'm going to take one more inhale and exhale here. And as we inhale, lunge forwards, exhale, soften through that back knee, untuck that back toe. We're going to bring that left knee underneath that left hip and lift yourself all the way up to kneeling. Option to use a blanket underneath the knees. Okay, we're going to take another back bend here. I'm going to offer out an option with the blocks. So if you've got blocks, bring the blocks just outside of your shins or your ankles. You can even take the blocks back in a moment if that feels a bit more comfortable for you. Then we're going to tuck the toes, just a little bit more steady through the feet here, stretching out through the feet a little. Then as we inhale, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, grab your blocks behind you and then start to lift up through your breastbone. So you can shift a little bit more weight in towards the wrists and the hands. Take a breath in, lift up through the chest. Exhale, maybe you lift up through the chin and the gaze too. Squeeze the bum here, glutes squeeze together. Take a breath in and a breath out. One more inhale here, keep sending the hips forwards. Exhale, tuck the chin, lift yourself all the way back up, and then sit back towards the heels. Option to pop a little block underneath. Take a breath in and a breath out here. Okay, as you sit back towards the heels, if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, then feel free to just come into a comfortable cross-legged position. We're going to come into a twist right now. So I'm just making sure that both knees are pointing forwards, toes pointing back if you're seated on your block or sitting back on your heels. Take an inhale, right hand onto left knee or left thigh. Exhale, we're going to wrap that left arm around the body. So that left hand is resting on that right side waist, maybe even right hip. Take a breath in, crown of the head lifts. Exhale to twist the chest over towards the left. So it's drawing the upper spine over towards the left. You might notice that your head twists a little further than the chest. Take a breath in and a breath out. Keep checking in. Jaw, shoulders, forehead. Soften with the exhale breath. One more inhale. And exhale here. So we're going to unravel with slowness. Carefully de-rotate through the spine. Hands come back onto knees or thighs. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Making our way into a twist on the other side. Left hand slides onto your right knee, outer right thigh. Wrap that right arm all the way around the body, resting the palm maybe on the left waist or left hip crease. Take a breath in, crown of the head lifts. So the scalp lifts up towards the ceiling. And then exhale to twist the body over towards the right. Chest spins towards the right. Maybe you look over your right shoulder. And feed a nice, slow, marinating body breath and experience as you feed a nice, slow breath through the body. One more breath in. And exhale, breath out. Carefully de-rotate back through center. Hands come onto your knees or thighs. We'll take a nice inhale. And an exhale here. And then as we inhale, reach the arms up towards the ceiling, palms join. Exhale, we're going to bend the elbows here and then reaching the fingertips towards the back of the mat. So your elbows are going to want to separate away from each other. We're going to try and keep them nestled nice and close in towards the head. As you reach the fingertips back, maybe there's a little bit of space to bring the thumbs towards the nape of the neck or the start of the shoulders. Keep lifting up through the crown of the head. Take a breath in and a breath out here. Soften through the jaw for one more inhale. And exhale here. And as we inhale, reaching the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, separate the fingertips and bring the hands all the way back down. Lift your bum off your heels or your blocks. We'll lengthen both legs forwards in front of us. And then just give both legs a little shake here. Lovely. All your hard work is done. We're going to come down towards the mat in a moment. We're just going to take a moment in a forward fold yin posture. So the feet can be about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. You can choose to have props for this or not use props. I'm going to show you with props because personally I quite like them. I think they add to the experience. So if you've got props here, placing one brick on top of the other, just in between the legs, more towards the direction of your pelvis, and then maybe placing a nice soft blanket on top. If you haven't got a blanket, then you can always use a cushion instead. Feet can be flexed if you want, or they can be relaxed. You choose. Take a breath in, tilt the pelvis forwards. Exhale, fold the arms on top of your props, and then just let the crown of the head and the forehead melt down. So you can rest your forehead on the arms, forearms. If you feel like it's a little bit too low, then just allow the hands to rest on the props, and you can just allow the forehead to hover in midair. So we're looking for more of a rounding through the spine here, more like an angry cat-like spine. Let the elbows and the shoulders soften. Maybe there's a sense of the breath moving towards the back and the sides of your rib cage. As you settle into stillness, just noticing what this stillness stirs up in your inner environment. Breathing here. If you find this a little bit too intense, you can always come out of the fold a little bit, knowing that there's no hierarchy in poses. There's not one advanced pose that's better than the other. It's just the pose that works for you right now. Three more breaths in here. Last breath in here. And we're going to carefully roll the spine all the way up. Nice and slow, stacking each vertebrae one by one. And once you get all the way up, we can take a nice slow breath in through your nose. And exhale out through your mouth. Time for your Shavasana. Set up nice and slow. You don't have to use bricks here. If you want to come into a bridge pose to end with, you can just slide your bricks underneath the tailbone. I'll show you in a moment. Option to use a nice blanket for the head. Get yourself nice and comfy. Make sure in your environment that elicits this relaxation. So darkness, silence. Hopefully you're somewhere that can be undisturbed just for a moment or two. Then if you're ready for your Shavasana, you're like, Tash, I just kind of want to lie down. I don't really want to do anything right now. Then come to stretch the legs out, arms either side of the body, palms facing up or facing down. You want to come into a very slight bridge pose, very slight inversion, just for a couple of moments. We can bend the legs and then knees pointing up towards the ceiling, press down through the feet to lift the hips and slide that block on its lowest setting just underneath the sacrum. So this bony part just above the bum. Should feel quite comfortable. If there's any sharp pain in the low back area, then feel free to skip. Arms can come down either side of your body. Knees still pointing up. Close the eyes or relax the gaze. Start to collect your attention in your heart area. Feeling the experience of your heart right now. And with that connection to your heart space, let there be an inquiry. What does my body, my mind need most from me today? What is my intention for my well being this week? And just see what happens when you inquire. No pressure to have all the questions answered right now. You're in your bridge pose, gently making your way into your shavasana, pressing down through the feet, slide the block to one side, bring the spine down towards the earth, and come down for your relaxation, down to the ground. The best way to rest is in contact with the earth. Keep drawing your attention back down. Leave you here in some sweet silence. And I'll let you know when it's time to transition. Beginning to deepen your breath. Start to awaken your senses. So maybe a lick of the lips just to awaken the sensation in the mouth. Rubbing the thumbs and the palms, fingers, fingertips. Maybe some movement through the wrists and the ankles might feel quite nice. Taking a full body stretch. Maybe a yawn. The body's natural way of relaxing. And then draw both knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a last big hug, a little squeeze. You might even explore lifting both legs up towards the ceiling, flexing and pointing the feet. Take a breath in and a breath out. Then we're going to roll ourselves over towards the left hand side. Turn the body over towards the left, so it's resting on the left side of the body, and then carefully pressing up into a comfortable seated position, facing roughly this way. Hands can rest on your knees or thighs, maybe both hands together in the heart space. Thanking you and your body for your practice today. And we'll end by taking a last collective breath in and out together. So when you're ready, inhale, flood the body with air. And exhale, let it go. Thank you so much, everyone, for practicing with me online, on YouTube, on my membership as well. Hope you have a lovely day and see you very soon. Bye.